So apparently my daughter came rushing home to me and my husband, and she's making a pretty wild accusation saying her husband laid his hands on her. So obviously my husband jumps up, hops into the truck, and speeds off to his house to handle the situation. Well, there's one thing we didn't account for. Our precious little baby girl daughter. Well, she's a liar. Hello everyone, my name's Kayla. I married my husband Vince at a very, very young age. We met at college, and by my last year I was pregnant with my daughter, Monica. People thought that we were getting married out of convenience instead of getting married out of true love. But they were wrong. Vince and I weren't thinking about marriage when we got pregnant. Sure, but there was no hesitation between us when we found out about Monica. We both decided to just get married immediately. Vince was in law school while I had to work to support both of us and a new baby. My family had told me to just leave him because in their eyes he wasn't worth it. But I stuck with him and supported him during the hardest times of his life. And in return, he supported me during the best time in his life when he became one of the best lawyers in the city. Vince is usually in charge of his emotions. I've never seen him lose control, not even when Monica was little and throwing a tantrum. He was usually the one who would tell me to calm down when Monica used to overwhelm me as a kid. He's a great dad who taught me how to not let my emotions control my life. So when I saw my husband lose his crap today after seeing his daughter and hearing what she had to say, I was very, very shocked. Monica met Robert at work. They had worked together for years and gradually fell in love. I liked Robert the moment I met him. I thought he was a very confident young man who knew what he wanted in life. That assurance made me feel secure in my daughter's decision to marry him. He was well off and knew how to look after himself. I mean, what can a mother wish for more in their child's life partner? Vince, however, was not very impressed. It wasn't shocking looking at how disciplined he is. He did come around by the wedding, though. He did not disclose that to anyone. But I now know how to read my husband. He completely accepted Robert when Monica gave birth to their first daughter, Nancy. I'd seen him hugging Robert just right after the delivery. He even let Robert cry on his shoulder when he got overwhelmed by his emotions. Vince was a girl dad before it was even a thing. He liked braiding his daughter's hair for school. He would carry her around in his arms until she was too old, and I loved watching them be best friends throughout her childhood. Vince is a very stern man, but never with Monica. Vince spent every minute of his free time with Monica and me. He valued family over everything, so it wasn't shocking that he didn't think that Robert deserved his daughter. I don't think there's any man in the world who deserves Monica in his eyes. But as he saw Robert become a dad of a little baby girl, his heart melted towards the man as well. He usually loves giving advice to Robert on how to be a good father. Robert absorbs everything he tells him like a sponge. It's not hard to see that Robert has a lot of respect for his father-in-law, and Vince had finally accepted Robert after all the years he was married to Monica. So, it came as a shock when we both realized how wrong we were about Robert. The calm, polite, and soft-spoken man was hiding his cruelty behind his clean facade so well. Yesterday, my daughter came running up to us. My husband and I were gardening in the backyard, and it was he who opened the door to let our crying daughter in. We were shocked and concerned at her sudden appearance, and I thought that maybe Robert or Nancy were sick or something, and, maybe something happened to them. We got our daughter to calm down and gave her some water. That's when she opened up about what happened. She revealed that she had a huge fight with Robert, who beat her up. Well, I was quite shocked at her accusations because I just could not imagine Robert hitting my daughter ever. But I knew people could pretend to be what they weren't. Vince stood up and rushed to get his keys, and I had to grab him and stop him from doing something stupid. I told him to wait up and first talk to Monica. So, I asked Monica what the fight had been about, and she claimed that Robert thinks that she's cheating on him with a colleague. She explained that she was with a colleague in her house this weekend, finishing up their project before the deadline, and Robert had found them together and pounced on their worst possible outcomes. She revealed that they've fought, and he pushed her into a side table, then proceeded to kick her in the stomach. She even had a bruise to prove that, and Vince told her to get pictures of the bruises so he could destroy Robert's life in court. I'd become anxious as Vince had grabbed his car keys and was rushing towards the door. Monica and I both tried to calm him down so he would not do something stupid, but he screamed at me to let him be the father and teach the person who hurt his daughter a lesson. Well, I was scared that he would hurt the man and get himself in trouble with the law. I told Monica to wait in our house alone as I followed my husband out. He was angry, too angry, so I told him that I better drive and he let me. All through the drive, his anger was palpable. I was just hoping that this would not make him sick, because I genuinely never seen my husband this mad. And I was mad as well. How dare Robert? But I still don't agree with how Vince was thinking about resolving the situation. I tried to talk him down. I told him that he should not physically hurt Robert, and only go to talk to him as I could not keep him from going over there anymore. When we got to Robert's house, he was out of the car before I've even parked it properly. I had to run after him to get there in time before Robert opened the door and Vince lost control over his emotions. Vince was going to descend on Robert the moment he opened the door, but I grabbed his hand to calm him down just in case. He took a deep breath before he spoke to Robert next. He told Robert that we were going to take him to court for physically abusing our daughter. I stood there beside him, nodding empathetically. Vince informed Robert to invest in a good lawyer because Vince promised him that he would stop at nothing until he made him pay for what he did to our daughter. Robert tried to interject, but Vince told him to stop. He informed him that he didn't care what he thought before he abused his daughter. He only cared that his daughter was injured and crying at his home. Robert tried to tell us that it was not what we thought. But we had enough, and I told him to save his excuses for court as I pulled Vince back to the car. Robert begged us to just hear him out before jumping to conclusions. I now think that we should have heard him out. Not that he can ever excuse physically abusing someone, especially my daughter, but I would have loved to see him try. Now, Vince and Monica will draft a complaint tomorrow. Of course, Vince also suggested a divorce. Monica thought that Nancy was safe with her father when I asked her if we should bring her here as well. She claimed that he would never hurt his daughter, not even to hurt her further. She claimed that he was a wife-beater, but he was not a monster who would hurt a 6-year-old child. I wasn't really satisfied with that answer, to be honest with you. Well, still, I want to bring my granddaughter back. Should I bring my granddaughter to our house to be with her mother? Yeah, or will that be crossing a boundary? I swear I'm not the kind of mother who likes stepping into their kids' lives, but I want my granddaughter to be safe with us. I mean, would it be wrong if I brought Nancy to us even when Monica thinks that we don't need to? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So today's story is a wild ride. It's about to get even crazier. You're not going to expect what we're about to see in these upcoming updates. If you're interested in these sort of stories, go ahead, take a second, hit that subscribe button for daily animated stories, and let's jump into update number 1. Hey guys, thank you for commenting and giving me advice. I read it all. I understand that the people who thought I wasn't overstepping. I even understood when some people advised me to trust my daughter, who thought that my granddaughter was safe with her dad. In the end, I ended up doing nothing because my granddaughter contacted us on her own. Monica was gone to work while Vince and I were at home when I get a call from Robert's home telephone. I wasn't sure if I should take the call, so I took my phone to Vince on speakerphone. We were surprised when it was not Robert. It was Nancy. I was so relieved to hear her voice. She sounded safe and sound, and I asked her if she wanted me to come get her to go back to Mommy. And that's when she broke down, saying that she didn't want to be with Mommy ever again. Vince had taken over the conversation at this point in his fatherly voice, which he usually reserved for his daughter and granddaughter only. He asked her why she did not want to come back to her mommy. I was scared that Robert had filled his daughter's ears with poison against Monica. But what she revealed next was worse. Way, way, way worse. Nancy told us that her mommy had forgotten about her. She explained that she had been sick earlier, and she could not get out of bed and tell her mom that she was sick and that her mother had not even come to check up on her. We were shocked at this, so we asked her a bit more, and she revealed that Monica had not fed her for 2 days straight, even when she cried out for food. Nancy had been so scared that she was alone at home and did not even have the energy in her legs to go out of the room to check. She had been scared, so scared to check, because she could hear movement coming from the house and did not know if it was her mother or somebody else until her dad came back home. We were so shocked to hear this, and we were relieved when Robert found his crying daughter on the phone and took the phone away from her. He immediately apologized to us, and he tried to calm his daughter down as well. Vince was speechless, so I took over. I asked if Nancy was okay now, claiming that she had said that she was sick earlier. Robert reassured us that Nancy was so much better now. She had an infection and was running a high fever, but he had taken her to the hospital and gotten medicine for her. I knew what I had to do. I told him that we would listen to his explanation now. The one that we told him to save for court. I could hear the relief in Robert's voice when he said that we could come over this weekend. So, he could clearly explain everything and, tell us everything that happened, and we could meet Nancy too. She'd probably be healthy by then. I promised that we would be there. I don't really know what to think anymore. Was Monica lying to us? Is Monica hiding something? Did my own daughter really neglect her daughter like this for 2 days? It doesn't excuse Robert for physically abusing Monica, clearly, but I would have been beyond angry if I found that my partner had completely neglected my sick daughter and did not feed her for days on end. Did she really forget about her own daughter and cheated on Robert with a random guy? I can't decipher all this. It's just too much to take in, and I'm sure it must be the same for all of us. Vince has not spoken anything for hours now. He's in the garden, just thinking about everything. I feel very impatient as well. I don't know what to do with this anymore. Updates number 2. Hey guys, it's me again. Kayla, today my husband and I gave our son-in-law a chance to explain why our daughter was accusing him of beating her up, and he did explain everything very nicely to us. We had not told Monica that we were in contact with Robert at all. We didn't want her to be able to manipulate us in her own corner before we even got the chance to hear Robert out. I regretted not letting him explain himself when we had gone to threaten him about taking him to court. If we had let him explain everything then and there, we could have saved ourselves a whole lot of unnecessary drama. We were relieved to see Nancy completely unharmed and even happy when we got there. She looked pale as she was still not fully recovered, but she was doing much better now. We talked to her and showered love on her just a bit before sending her back to her mom. She asked us if her dad was in trouble with us and started to take his side, telling us how nice he was, and I laughed. Told her he wouldn't hurt Robert and sent her off. Robert began his explanation. He told me he was away on a business trip and returned unexpectedly because he was missing his wife and daughter. He wanted to surprise Monica, but it was Robert who was surprised when he saw his wife with another man in their bed. Robert lost his temper and starts to yell at Monica. The man she was sleeping with was also confused. He revealed that Monica had told him that she was single, a single mom, and that her husband died a long time ago. Monica had begun giving Robert explanations, but Robert had gone straight to his daughter's room, wishing to get out of the house then and there with her. But what he found shocked him. He found Nancy half unconscious in her bed, and she had a very high fever and had even wet herself. She wasn't coherent at all when he tried to talk to her. Robert had taken her straight to the hospital, not caring about his wife or the man she was sleeping with behind his back for the past few months. He later found out that Monica had not fed Nancy in 2 days, and did not check on Nancy even though she was aware that Nancy was sick. He stayed with his daughter in the hospital for the whole night. On his return, he found his wife still in the house. You know what? That's when he lost it. But he claimed that he had still not hit her. He was carrying Nancy in one arm when Monica intercepted him. She began giving him explanation after explanation, but he told her to leave him alone. Monica did not see where she was going and ran into the stairway banister while Robert continued his way upstairs to put Nancy down. Then they proceeded to have a huge fight, which resulted in Robert asking Monica to leave his house right that second. But Monica had not gone without threatening him. She claimed that she would ruin his life if he told this to anyone. Her father was, after all, a top lawyer. Of course, Robert did not have any proof that Robert's claim of never hitting Monica were true or not, but she clearly lied to us. She had neglected her daughter to such an extent that she had to be taken to the hospital immediately. I don't trust my daughter to utter a single truth anymore. I can't even imagine how she can do that to her own daughter. I'm so disappointed. On our way back, Vince told Robert not to be scared. Vince tried to joke that he had told him to get a good lawyer, but he no longer needed to. Vince would help Robert sue his own daughter. Update number 3. Hey everyone, it's Kayla again. Vince and I discussed what our next step should be after finding out about our daughter, that she lied about her husband physically abusing her. It had instead been our daughter who had been cheating on her husband and neglecting our own granddaughter. The next day itself, we announced that we were disowning Monica. This came as a shock to her, and Vince sternly told her that they knew that she had cheated on Robert and we all wanted nothing to do with her anymore. Well, Monica tried explaining how she had not been cheating. She was working with him, so I asked her if that's why the man told Robert that he thought Monica was a single mother because her husband had died. Vince told her that she cheated, and it's wrong, but this is something that we could have forgiven her for. She was, after all, our daughter, but we would never forgive her for neglecting our grandbaby and not even feeding her when she was sick for 2 days. Vince screamed at her, asking how could she have just gotten this way and forgot that she had a daughter in the first place. She tried explaining that she did not know that Nancy was sick, but that did not even make sense as an excuse. Vince told her to leave us right this second before we called the law. He told her to invest in a good lawyer because there's nothing that's going to stop Robert from suing her now. Monica was crying, screaming on her way out. Well, still trying to excuse her behavior somehow, some way. I could not believe my daughter had excuses to give us after she treated her own daughter like that. I'm beyond disappointed. She told us to reconsider this, and she claimed that we weren't thinking right. That's when Vince completely lost his composure. He told her that she never thought about her sick daughter even once in 2 days. Knowing Robert was absent, and he told her that she was the one who never thought right. She was the one who never thought about anyone but herself. Then he grabbed her arm and threw her out himself without listening to anything else that she had to say. A week later, when she was called to discuss the charges against her with her lawyer, she was shocked to find Vince as Robert's lawyer. I wasn't there, so it was Vince who told me about what happened. She was furious that first of all we weren't supporting her, and now we're taking Robert's side instead of her own daughter's? I'm honestly ashamed of calling her my daughter right now with her behavior these days. On the way out, Monica was furious and told her dad that he was a crap father if he was going to represent Robert in court instead of her. Vince told her that was, okay, because she's a crap mother, so guess what, they're even. He told me that Robert did not even glance at her once throughout the meeting and he was disgusted by her. And so was Vince. Vince was beyond mad. He lost his temper multiple times over the past few weeks, something he had never done in his entire life so far. Now the case is going to court and the trial will begin in a few weeks. I don't understand how Vince and I will sit through it. Vince can't even sit. He'll have to actively get involved in the proceedings. He did not want me to be there, but I told him that I would never leave him alone in such a hard time in our lives. I promised him that I would be there with him and all through the proceedings, even if it hurt me. It would be enough knowing that he was there with me and I was there with him. Final update. Hey guys, I'm here. It's Kayla. It's been a long time since I posted anything. It's been about, 4 months? So I thought I would conclude everything now that the trial against my daughter is over. Kayla's going to prison. Yep, child endangerment. I don't know how to get used to this new reality of ours. I feel like I disappointed my daughter. It was like I somehow made some huge mistake in her childhood for her to treat her daughter like this. Vince reassured me not to think like that, but I can't stop thinking about what it might be. What did I do to my daughter to treat her, daughter so poorly? Anyways, Monica wasn't happy all throughout the trial. She knew she was going against the best lawyer in the city, so she knew that there's no way she was going to win this trial at all. Vince was magnificent in the trials, as usual. He never once lost his composure, even though this case was so close to his heart. He acted the way he would for any other case, even though I knew internally he must have been hurting just as bad as I. But he put on this brave face for every trial. Robert and Nancy, well, they're doing just fine. Nancy doesn't like talking about her mother, and we think she's relieved now that she's away from her mom. Robert doesn't know if Monica had ever knowingly neglected Nancy like this before, and he didn't know how to ask a 6-year-old this. So he just put her into therapy, so maybe she would open up and get help from a professional. I can't believe that I never knew that my daughter was capable of such evil and cruelty. I just hope that she hasn't traumatized her daughter forever. Robert has also asked for a divorce. He wants to just move on from all this, and he's traumatized by all this and trying to forget everything that happened. So we meet up every day when he comes over to pick up Nancy after work, as we babysit her every day now, not wishing her to be away at childcare. If she can be with us, come on. I guess we're all just trying to move forward from this. Vince and I have stopped mentioning Monica's name at all in this household, and that's it. Thank you for listening to me. I know this was a very sad update, even though we won. It's just a lose-lose situation, if you ask me, for everybody that's involved. So, Vince, the father in today's story who went on to sue his own daughter, and, well, he's the one that went against her in court because he's one of the town's top lawyers. I'll be honest, I was expecting people to be cheering for him, because even though it's his daughter, what she did was despicable, and she put a lot of people's lives in harm, her kid and her significant other. It could have got really bad if Vince went to Robert's house and did something crazy, but luckily he didn't lose his marbles the second he found out that his daughter was being hit, even though we found out that it was a lie. So I do want to know what you guys thought, because the comment section really wasn't on Vince's side. They said, we understand that your daughter lied, but at the end of the day, it's your daughter, and what you did was wrong for going against her in court and basically being the one who sent her to jail. There was also a lot of people that said no, well, her husband Vince did nothing wrong. He was just standing up for what was morally right, even if it was to go against his own daughter. I want to know which side you guys lean towards more. So drop it down below in the comment section. Let's discuss it. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day. So if you guys want to be a part of these day-to-day story readings, consider subscribing to the channel. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.